Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 2 Part 214 based on novel. So let's start. The lifespans of aquatic soul beasts are very limited. If we are unable to overcome this limit, we will basically age and die. The prospect of extending our lives even for just a couple of decades would already be incredible. Besides, the thought of being able to experience the human's world was equally enticing. Hence, we became really interested in his idea. Afterwards, those humans released a spirit for us to see. It was indeed very mystical to lose one's body, but not one's soul. It was also my first time witnessing something so special. After thinking about it, I decided to try and collaborate with them. Those people told me how there were many humans who were hoping to get some spirits. However, the soul beast would have to undergo some ceremonies which must be conducted on land. Those ceremonies needed some formations, and those formations could not be placed in the middle of the sea. I was too foolish back then, and believed them without any hesitation. I gathered some of the merfolk who were on the brink of death and sent them to the shore. I sent over 1,000 merfolk to the shore without knowing that would be the last time I would see them. After a month passed, I sent a few merfolk to check with the humans. I wanted to know if the spirit ceremonies had been performed successfully. Those humans told us how the merfolk I had sent over had all successfully become spirits. In addition, they told me that they realized how aquatic beasts were more suitable to become spirits than normal soul beasts. The stronger aquatic soul beasts were even able to split just a sliver of their soul to become spirits. The remaining soul could still stay within its main body. After the main body died, the part of the soul which was in the human's body could continue being a spirit. It was as if it had gained an extra life. This would also allow the human which had this special spirit to live longer, or even live as long as us aquatic soul beasts. They convinced us that it would be a win-win situation if we were to hand them some of our stronger aquatic soul beasts for experimentation. After hearing what the Princess of the Sea had said, Tang Wutong felt a chill run down her spine. She had never expected someone to use the spirits that Hui Yuhao had researched for their own evil agenda. On top of that, they had brought trouble to the entire merfolk race. Without asking the princess, she already knew who these humans were. The princess's eyes were full of hatred as she lamented, "I was so foolish. I couldn't see through their ploy, and actually agreed to their arrangements." In addition, I ordered my daughter to bring my people to the shore to assist them with their experimentation. Those despicable humans didn't know that merfolk royalty are able to sense each other spiritually. In addition, we can actually communicate with one another over long distances through spiritual means. A few days later, my little daughter passed a message to me and told me how we had been duped by the humans. Those despicable humans lied about their ability to transfer spirits. Our first batch of merfolk had all been tricked by the humans to release their spirits before they were all made into avenging spirits. This time around, they had even planned to use the stronger members of our race to make soul beast puppets. They were really cruel and ruthless. Even though I was shocked, I quickly assembled my people to rescue my little daughter. However, those despicable humans were ready for us. Our rescue was not only unsuccessful, but we also lost countless merfolk in the battle. After all, once we leave the seawater, our powers decrease drastically. In the end, I barely managed to rescue my little daughter. Even then, she had already been tortured until she was at her limit. When she stopped here, the Princess of the Sea and the mermaid with the silver crown were already tearing up. Snow Empress, tell me, how am I supposed to not hate those despicable humans? Afterwards, I regrouped my people, and we launched countless attacks on them. However, they were always able to repel our attacks with their strange weapons. Now, I have already given the order to kill any human who dares to enter the ice sea. As she spoke till here, the princess no longer tried to conceal her murderous intent. The Snow Empress frowned immediately. I can't believe this. Now I know why the Princess of the Sea, who was usually very gentle and kind, has become so hateful. She had actually been through so many unfortunate events. It must have pained her to see her own people die, and how her own daughter almost lost her life. What could be worse than watching one's own people transform into avenging spirits, never to be reborn? Her hatred for humans is very understandable. Tang Wutong exclaimed, "Your Highness, all of you have been duped. Those people aren't even the creator of spirits. Yu Hao is the one who created them." As she spoke, she pointed at Yu Hao, who was standing beside her. The Princess of the Sea laughed coldly and said, "So are you now going to ask me if I want to collaborate with you? Do you really think I will still believe you despicable humans and your stupid spirits project? I will never agree to your requests again, even if you get the Snow Empress to ask on your behalf." The Snow Empress sighed and said, "Princess of the Sea, this entire thing is a misunderstanding. Those humans who had cheated all of you are scum among the human soul masters. They are called evil soul masters. There is an organization within the Sun Moon Empire which is called the Holy Ghost Church. It consists of only evil soul masters, who employ all sorts of devilish methods to strengthen their abilities. The fellows who had transformed your people into avenging spirits have just been killed by these two humans. I can also vouch for the fact that Yu Hao is the real researcher who came up with spirits." The Princess of the Sea was doubtful of the Snow Empress' words. "How can you prove that?" The Snow Empress replied plainly, "Because I am the first soul beast in the entire continent which was successfully transformed into a spirit. I am Yu Hao's spirit." "What?" Both the Princess of the Sea and her daughter exclaimed in disbelief. They could not fathom why a powerful soul beast like the Snow Empress would actually submit to become a human spirit. On top of that, they did not understand why the Snow Empress was trying to persuade them for Yu Hao. "Yu." The Snow Empress stared at the startled Princess of the Sea as she sighed. Following which, she shared how she was captured by human soul masters when she was trying to rebuild herself and transform into a fetus. She then went on to explain how she bumped into Yu Hao and became his spirit. However, as she explained, the Snow Empress became increasingly uncertain of convincing the two mermaids. She realized how their eyes became increasingly aloof. It was apparent that they did not really believe what she was saying. The spirit system that Yu Hao has developed is extremely beneficial. It can drastically reduce the number of killings between humans and soul beasts. At the same time, it can also reduce the conflict and animosity between humans and soul beasts. Enough. The Princess of the Sea suddenly interrupted the Snow Empress. "Stop talking. Your glib tongue will not be enough to dupe me again. You can't be the Snow Empress. With the power that she has, how could she become a human spirit? I don't know how you humans managed to replicate her image, and even her powers. But all of you are going to die today. My little daughter is about to die, and today, all of you will join her and keep her company on her last journey." As she spoke, the Princess of the Sea released a loud battle cry as she pushed her hands forward. The seawater immediately surged upwards before transforming into countless waves which rolled towards the Snow Empress, Yu Hao and Tang Wutong. The Snow Empress stared coldly at the incoming waves. She knew that it was no longer possible to reach a peaceful resolution. As she let out a sigh, she quickly returned to Yu Hao's body and regained control over his body from the Ice Empress. A dark blue light instantly expanded from Yu Hao's body into his surroundings. This time round, it was no longer the snowy dance of ultimate ice, but pure ultimate ice soul power. An unexpected scene unfolded before everyone's eyes. Those humongous waves suddenly froze when they about a couple of dozen meters from Yu Hao and Tang Wutong. They had transformed into thick blocks of ice in mid-air before dropping back down into the sea. Those were humongous ice blocks. Hence, they released a deafening sound when they landed in the water. This unexpected power was due to the boost provided by the icy war god's armor. Under the influence of the divine ice crystals and the ice spirits within them, the armor was able to absorb ice-type elemental energy from the air and replenish the energy within the armor on its own. At the same time, it had an amplifying ability which amplified Yu Hao's ultimate ice soul power by at least 3 times. Because it possessed an internal regenerative ability and external amplification ability, calling it the armor of the generation would not be an overstatement. On top of these, it possessed incredible offensive and defensive capabilities. As the gigantic ice blocks landed in the sea, the Snow Empress controlled Hui Yuhao's hand as she made him clench his fist. Instantly, a second loud sound could be heard. The ice blocks exploded under Hui Yuhao's control as shockwaves spread out far across the sea. All sorts of floating ice structures were immediately destroyed by the ice shards and the shockwaves. Their destruction guaranteed the destruction of their neighboring ice blocks as a chain reaction formed on the ocean surface. Ice explosion. This time around, Hui Yuhao was not the one who executed the ice explosion. This was because the person who was controlling Hui Yuhao when he clenched his fist was the Ice Empress. Ice explosion was an extremely powerful ability which belonged to the Ice Jade Scorpions. Previously, when the Ice Empress chose to become Hui Yuhao's second martial soul on top of becoming his soul ring, she was unable to hand this soul skill over to him. However, when it came to controlling the ice explosion skill, the Ice Empress was definitely better than the Snow Empress. Hence, she not only detonated the blocks of ice that fell from the sky, but also the icebergs within a few thousand-meter radius. That insane explosive power instantly caused the entire expansive ice sea to become extremely chaotic. Among Hui Yuhao's 5 most powerful spirits, the Ice Empress had the worst temper. The Ice Empress was infuriated after watching how the Princess of the Sea was so demanding and unreasonable even after the Snow Empress had tried to personally convince her otherwise. She could not bear to see how the Princess of the Sea threatened to kill Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong. Hence, the Ice Empress chose to detonate the icebergs around them. This sent the entire sea into a frenzy which the Princess of the Sea could not turn a blind eye to. Even though both herself and her daughter would not be in trouble, the countless aquatic soul beasts in the sea would be in serious peril. The Princess of the Sea had no choice but to focus fully on controlling the seawater to counter the powerful explosion started by ice explosion. She had to contain the explosion in order to prevent it from affecting the underwater world. The Snow Empress hesitated for a short while before signaling Tang Wutong. Together, they flew away into the distance. With the ice explosions distracting the Princess of the Sea, it would be a while before she could catch up to them. The Snow Empress felt that it was unlikely that the Princess of the Sea would chase after them anymore. However, it seemed as though the Snow Empress had underestimated the princess's hatred for humans. Just when they had flown out a bit, a gigantic wave was raised again as it pursued them. This time around, the Snow Empress was not planning to run away anymore. Hui Yuhao's dark blue eyes flickered, following which, the star anise mysterious ice grass emerged from his shoulder. The Ice Empress, Little Bai, and the Sky Dream ice worm were also released from Hui Yuhao's body as they floated behind him. While Tang Wutong was silently standing where she was, she could sense clearly the anger boiling within the Snow Empress. Back when the Snow Empress was still in the extreme north, she was probably of equal status to the Princess of the Sea. In fact, she was more powerful than the Princess of the Sea. However, the princess did not seem to care about this, nor did she show any respect to the Snow Empress. With the ego and pride the Snow Empress had, how could she let this go so easily? Since you really want to fight, bring it on. The Snow Empress stared coldly at the princess and her daughter who were riding on a tall wave crest. She said coldly, "Princess of the Sea, you dead set on fighting me to the death today?" The Princess of the Sea returned an equally cold stare. "Snow Empress, I don't care whether you are real or fake or some sort of spirit. I just want you to know that my little daughter, who has the royal blood of the merfolk flowing in her golden veins, is my successor. Now that she is about to die, the entire merfolk race could go extinct. In that case, do you think I still have anything holding me back? These despicable humans must all die." As she spoke, she raised her hands as she transformed the ocean around her into water arrows. These arrows went straight for the spirits, Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong, who were floating in mid-air. "Oh really?" The Snow Empress replied coldly, "Let's see who will be the one dying today." The icy war god's armor radiated a deep blue glow as the water arrows which were rapidly ascending transformed into ice crystals before falling back into the sea. The Ice Empress, who was beside the Snow Empress, pressed her hands down as some of the ice arrows changed direction, and sped downwards instead. The star anise mysterious ice grass released its star anise icy coagulation as it furiously absorbed the ice-type elemental energy from the air. The air above the ice sea was definitely not only the princess's home ground. The Ice-type spirits also commanded the same home ground advantage. Bai released a blinding white light from its body as the air around it started to become very volatile and violent. The Ice Bear King's blizzard. At this point in time, winds and clouds were surging over the backdrop of humongous waves on the surface of the ice sea. A huge battle was about to unfold. The Skydream Iceworm had transformed into a golden light before appearing in front of Tang Wutong. Tang Wutong lifted her hand and reached out for the life reflection shield. As she held the life reflection shield with her left hand and the golden dragon spear with her right hand, she released a powerful golden aura as she floated in mid-air. She was charging her power for the inevitable blow she would deliver. She might not be moving now, but once she launched herself into the fight, she would definitely create an incredible impact. The Princess of the Sea and her daughter seemed to have revised their strategy this time around. She sent gigantic water pillars from the ice sea into the sky. The pillars were aimed at both Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong. Even though the ultimate ice soul power was able to freeze these pillars, the continuous water flow within them would immediately flush the ice slabs into Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong. There was no chance of them landing straight back into the sea. In addition, the Princess of the Sea was a powerful soul beast which had cultivated for over 600,000 years and ruled the vast ocean. She had long seen through the fact that the Snow Empress was only relying on the strengths of the humans for this battle. Even though the Snow Empress might be able to put up a fight when it came to soul skills and other fancy abilities, she would not be able to compare with the Princess of the Sea when it came to pure power. Hence, the Princess of the Sea chose the simplest method, to dominate. Even though it would be very taxing on her body, she wanted to dominate Hui Yuhao, who was under the control of the Snow Empress, by defeating him with her larger soul power reserves. On top of that, the Princess of the Sea began her melodic singing as she released rings of blue light into her surroundings. It was impossible to avoid them as they drifted towards Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong. The Snow Empress and Tang Wutong immediately shut off their sense of hearing. However, the princess's voice was also a form of spiritual attack. Hence, it was useless to just shut off one's sense of hearing. If Hui Yuhao was still awake, he would definitely know a way to stop it. However, the Snow Empress could only use Hui Yuhao's body to release her abilities. She was not able to control his spiritual power. If the Skydream Iceworm had not fused completely with Hui Yuhao, she might still be able to control some of his spiritual power. However, after Hui Yuhao had fused the three-eyed golden lion's skull of destiny with his body, she was no longer able to control his spiritual power. A powerful dizzying sensation started to sweep towards them. The princess's spiritual power was simply too strong. Under the suppression of her superior soul power and the constant shockwaves of her spiritual power, the Snow Empress was unable to release her attacking power effectively. The princess's power was definitely comparable to that of a human ultimate Dolor. Because Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong were unable to perform their martial soul fusion, even with the support of the spirits, they were fighting a losing battle. The Princess of the Sea stared coldly at her opponents, who were being pushed back by countless blocks of thick ice. She knew that victory was imminent. Even though these humans were extremely powerful, especially when they had the help of the Snow Empress, they would not be able to stand up to her overwhelming power. My dear daughter, Mother will avenge you. If you really die in the future, I will use countless human lives to pray for your soul. The Snow Empress gritted her teeth as she tried to fend off the furious attacks which were coming her way. If not for the icy war god's armor, she would have long since crumbled. After all, Hui Yuhao had not even become a titled Dolor. Even though he already possessed a soul core, it was ultimately still a spiritual-type soul core. Under such circumstances, the soul skills he could execute were very limited. The assistance provided by his spirits were all built on the foundation of his original soul power. Even though this granted him a boost in power, this boost was ultimately limited. Hui Yuhao might be able to put up with the attacks for longer if he was awake and was able to use the Haodong power with Tang Wutong. However, the Snow Empress was unable to hold off the attacks any longer. The boost provided by the Icy War God's armor was still not able to put Hui Yuhao on par with an ultimate Dolor. What do I do now? Are we really going to perish here? Hui Yuhao had just managed to establish contact with a god. There was a really good chance that he could set us free in the future. How can I just die here like this? Boom! Suddenly, a loud metallic sound could be heard. Following which, a blinding golden light appeared beside Hui Yu Hao. After the golden light appeared, it was actually able to stop the rapidly ascending blocks of ice. No matter how the seawater tried to push it upwards, the thick block of ice just would not budge. This is. Everyone, including the Princess of the Sea, the Snow Empress and the spirits, were all focused on Tang Wutong. Yes, this overwhelming golden light was coming from Tang Wutong's body. Right now, Tang Wutong had closed her eyes as a gigantic ball of purple gold light radiated from her back. This was her 8th soul skill, the Dragon Dance of the Radiant Sun. The Dragon Dance of the Radiant Sun's huge amount of energy was highly concentrated as it continued to radiate pressure and power to block the princess's attack. However, both the Snow Empress and the Princess of the Sea could tell that Tang Wutong would not be able to maintain the sun for too long. After all, it was ultimately a soul skill, and there was a limit as to how long soul masters could maintain their soul skills. The Princess of the Sea laughed coldly after determining that Tang Wutong's soul skill was but her final struggle. She continued to inject her spiritual power into her voice as her singing became increasingly melodic. However, she did not activate her stronger soul skills. The more powerful a soul skill was, the likelier it was to expose the user defensively after execution. Previously, Hui Yu Hao was able to neutralize her strongest attack and seal her. This left a deep impression on the Princess of the Sea. Hence, now that she had the upper hand, she was content with maintaining her lead. She was not anxious to win at all, because she knew she could outlast Tang Wutong and Hui Yu Hao when it came to soul power. The Snow Empress took in a deep breath as she turned around to look at the Ice Empress. The Ice Empress gave her a gentle nod as she turned around and floated to Hui Yu Hao's side. The image of the Snow Empress emerged from Hui Yu Hao's body and fused instantly with the Ice Empress. A powerful ice jade color light suddenly appeared, and instantly increased in intensity. Pride of the Ice and Snow Empresses. This was probably their last chance to fight to the end. Even though they knew how slim their chances were, they knew they had to try in order to even have a chance of surviving. However, no one would have expected what would happen next. As the Pride of the Ice and Snow Empresses transformed into a gigantic pillar of light that pushed the thick block of ice in the air towards the Princess of the Sea, Tang Wutong chose to keep her Dragon Dance of the Radiant Sun close to her body instead of assisting the Ice and Snow Empresses with their attacks. It seemed as though she had given up on attacking when the best opportunity had just revealed itself to her. The 5 spirits were shocked by what she had just done. What is she thinking? Under the protection of the purple golden sun, Tang Wutong, who was floating in mid-air, tapped her forehead with her right hand. Following which, her 9th soul ring lit up. Even Hui Yu Hao had not seen Tang Wutong use her 9th soul skill. They might share an intimate relationship, but he had never asked her about it. After all, soul skills were the biggest secrets for soul masters. If Tang Wutong did not share her 9th soul skill with him, Hui Yu Hao would never ask her about it because he respected her decision. But now, when they were in serious peril, Tang Wutong decided to activate her blood-red 9th soul ring for the first time. As the red light continued to expand into its surroundings, the Snow Empress and Ice Empress immediately understood what Tang Wutong was trying to do after seeing how the 9th ring lit up. Tang Wutong did not release the Dragon Dance of the Radiant Sun to attack the Princess of the Sea. She had released it to protect herself as she used the time to execute her 9th soul skill. It was apparent that her 9th soul skill required a long time to charge up before it could be released. The Princess of the Sea felt her heart skip a beat as an inexplicable sense of panic hit her. She was shocked by what she was seeing. Immediately, she did not care about wasting soul power anymore as her eyes turned golden. She moved her gigantic fishtail as a golden image appeared behind her back. The image was identical to her. The image lifted her hands as a blue hexagonal crystal appeared in mid-air. Just when the Pride of the Ice and Snow Empress was about to hit her, it was blocked by this crystal. The attack disintegrated immediately, and the Princess of the Sea remained unharmed. Is this the Ocean Heart? The Snow Empress asked in disbelief. The Ocean Heart was a fabled super soul skill which only merfolk with the golden bloodline could control and use. It could grant its user immunity from any energy-based attack once, following which, it would transfer the energy within the attack it had absorbed to the user, allowing them to combine that power with their own power for their next attack. As the princess held the Ocean Heart, she neutralized the pride of the Ice and Snow Empresses and absorbed its energy. Following which, her entire body turned a brilliant gold as her spiritual energy surged and caused huge waves throughout the entire Ice Sea. The Princess of the Sea raised the Ocean Heart high up in the sky as a blue pillar of light shot straight up into the sky at Tang Wutong. This blue pillar contained an insane amount of energy. It consisted of water-type elemental energy, ultimate ice energy from the pride of the Ice and Snow Empresses, and the insane spiritual energy from the Princess of the Sea. This attack was called the Curse of the Ocean Heart. It was truly the strongest attack the Princess of the Sea was capable of. When the blue light was released, the entire sky above the Ice Sea darkened. Countless lightning bolts flickered in the sky, as though the sky was about to crack and fall. The Snow Empress and Ice Empress were both stunned by the powerful blow coming their way. The Star Anise mysterious ice grass started to tremble in fear, while Little Bai's jaws dropped as it stopped its storm. The streak of blue light was going straight for Tang Wutong, and destroying everything that stood between it and her. The Snow Empress definitely knew how powerful the streak of light was. Before she became a spirit, she was also able to kill her enemies with a single blow from her snowless glacier after setting up her domain. Unless it was truly necessary, soul beasts which possessed such high cultivation levels would never use such deadly techniques. The Princess of the Sea must have felt sufficiently threatened by Tang Wutong's 9th soul skill to have decided to use her Ocean Heart. One must know that the Ocean Heart would require a month to recharge before it could be used again. At this instant, Tang Wutong seemed to be in her own world. She appeared to be completely oblivious to her surroundings. As the blue light continued to get closer to her, she did not show any signs of resistance. A golden light flashed as it moved in front of Tang Wutong. It was the life reflection shield, which had landed in her hands. At this crucial moment, the Skydream Iceworm was the only one who was still able to keep himself clear-headed. It definitely knew that he would not be able to block this blow. However, he just wanted to fight for some time for Tang Wutong. At this instant, he was just thinking about all the things that had happened between Hui Yuhao and Tang Wutong, as well as the tribulations he had overcome with Hui Yuhao. He had no hesitation or any ulterior motives. All he wanted to do was protect Tang Wutong for that short instant for Hui Yuhao. And then, at that very instant, Hui Yuhao, who had been unconscious, was suddenly awakened by some mysterious energy. His eyes suddenly lit up with fear and determination. Donga! Wutong! A blinding light flashed as all 4 spirits were thrown aside by Hui Yuhao. He immediately planted himself before Tang Wutong just when the blue light was only 3 meters away from her. He extended his right hand to grab the life reflection shield from Tang Wutong before swinging it out of the way. He turned around to face Tang Wutong. Hui Yuhao's eyes slowly closed as he fell back into his unconscious state. However, his face revealed a satisfied smile. He did not know what the blue light was. In fact, his entire awakening was purely subconscious. However, he was already satisfied with what had just happened. He was able to take the blow for his loved one. What could be more satisfying than waking up for this short instant to do that? The Skydream Iceworm morphed back into its human form after being tossed out of the way. Tears were already streaming down his face as he tried to control his emotions. The other spirits rushed towards Hui Yuhao after realizing what he was about to do as they tried to block the blow for him. However, it was too late. The curse of the Ocean Heart was already at his back. At that instant, the 5 spirits' minds blanked out. They naturally knew why Hui Yuhao would push them out of the way. Because they had all previously absorbed the manifold mysterious ice essence, the foundation of their spiritual awareness was very stable. Even if he were to die, they would still be able to live on and pursue their goals through alternate means. Their lives would not be threatened, at least in the short run. Hui Yuhao did not want them to die for him. The Princess of the Sea and her daughter were also shocked to see Hui Yuhao put his body in front of Tang Wutong without any hesitation. They were very uncomfortable seeing his demonstration of love. This human is actually willing to sacrifice himself to save his companions. Does he really deserve to die? However, it was already too late. The attack released by the Princess of the Sea had already reached Hui Yuhao's back. The Princess of the Sea did not believe that he would be able to withstand this attack. Both Tang Wutong, the human which seemed to threaten her, and Hui Yuhao would most definitely disintegrate into pieces. When the curse was about a foot away from Hui Yuhao, the icy war god's armor started to release dark blue ripples. It was trying to radiate as much ultimate ice as possible to resist the curse. However, no matter how strong a soul tool was, its user had to be strong enough to harness its potential. A low humming sound could be heard from the icy war god's armor. It was almost as though it was crying for its owner. A long and loud sigh could be heard from a position in front of Hui Yuhao. Following which, Hui Yuhao was thrown out of the way like a gunny sack. That streak of blue light that was merely inches away from his body did not manage to hit him. Tang Wutong floated silently in midair, as though she had already lost consciousness. The dragon dance of the radiant sun which was behind her back had also disappeared. She closed her eyes and slept like a sleeping beauty. A trident which was glistening with a brilliant golden glow was suspended before her. The curse of the ocean heart landed directly on the tip of the trident. The princess's strongest attack, which rivaled that of an ultimate dolor, was neutralized. The princess's jaw dropped as she watched the ocean heart, which was in her hand, disintegrate. An illusory hand formed on the pole of the trident as an illusory figure appeared out of thin air. Even though the person was not in his actual physical form, he was instantly able to calm the entire ice sea when he appeared. There were no longer any ripples or waves in the entire ocean. He had long blue hair that resembled a waterfall. His long hair that reached his feet was the backdrop for his mighty figure and broad shoulders. The man wore a majestic blue robe, which seemed to ripple like water. If one were to pay close attention to his robe, one would lose his or her soul in the depths of the dark blue of his robe. Even though his handsome face hinted that he was under 30 years old, he had a pair of sunken eyes that were very alluring. His eyes seemed to look empty, yet at the same time, they appeared to encompass everything in the universe. Occasionally, a flash of purple flickered across his eyes. It seemed to hint at the inevitable passing of beauty in our world, as well as the astounding truths of life and death. The Snow Empress, Ice Empress, Sky Dream Ice Worm, Star Anise Mysterious Ice Grass, and the Ice Bear King had all become frozen in midair after the faint figure appeared. Their spirit forms were no longer able to move. Hui Yuhao, who had been tossed aside, was also floating peacefully in midair. The daughter of the princess started to tremble vigorously. She lowered her head and did not dare to even steal a glance at the figure. The beautiful Princess of the Sea's eyes widened as the scales on her gigantic fishtail suddenly curled up. She realized she had lost all connection with the sea. Her power was decreasing at an impossible rate. However, she was not overly concerned by that. Her attention had already been fully absorbed by the golden trident before her, as well as the illusory figure wielding it. "Yo, you are," the Princess of the Sea's voice trembled, not out of fear, but because of her excitement. "Don't hurt them. Bring them to your little daughter, and they will help you. Don't let hatred blind you." The voice projected from the image was extremely gentle. However, in the ears of the princess and her daughter, it was filled with authority. The image gently raised the trident in his hand. Following which, the trident released an unparalleled golden light. Instantly, the entire ice sea turned golden as the golden light rippled within and across the water. Every single aquatic soul beast in the ice sea felt as though they had been purified spiritually. All of their negative emotions seemed to have vanished. And this included both the princess and her daughter. They found the long-lost calm within their hearts, and no longer felt the hatred they had felt towards Hui Yuhao, Tang Wutong, and humans in general. The illusory image walked towards Tang Wutong as he lifted his hand and stroked her long hair dotingly. Following which, the image flickered and returned to Tang Wutong's forehead along with the golden trident. The golden trident brand reappeared on her forehead before disappearing again. The golden color in the seawater slowly faded away as the 5 spirits in the air slowly regained the ability to move. All of them felt as though they had just woken up from a dream. This video will end here.